On July 12, 1191, the Siege of Acre, which had lasted 2 grueling years, finally came to a climactic end as Saladin's garrison surrendered to the forces of Philip Augustus. As the sun rose on that fateful day, Philip Augustus rallied his troops outside the battered gates of Acre, preparing for a final assault that could change the course of the Third Crusade. Saladin, aware of the dire situation, surveyed the aftermath of the relentless siege, contemplating his dwindling options. The city's citizens, weary and worn from the prolonged conflict, gathered at the walls, their hopes hanging by a thread amid the clash of swords. With the order given, Philip's army advanced toward the gates of Acre, bolstered by the spirit of unwavering determination. Inside the city, Saladin's defenders prepared for the inevitable, their heartbeats echoing against the walls they were sworn to protect. As dawn broke, Philip Augustus gathered his generals, emphasizing unity and the urgency of their mission. They strategized around a large wooden table adorned with maps and various flickering candles, set against the backdrop of the crumbling fortress walls of Acre. Meanwhile, within the fortified walls of Acre, Saladin convened a council with his captains. Their expressions were grave as they discussed the dwindling provisions and the relentless pressure from the Crusaders outside, their steadfastness under threat. The citizens of Acre, caught in the turmoil, gathered in the town square, whispering fears of impending doom. Their faces showed despair as they witnessed the fervor of the Crusader preparations, uncertain of what fate awaited them post-surrender. As the sun rose higher, the smell of smoke from campfires mixed with the salty air, invigorating Philip's troops. They donned their armor and prepared their siege engines, eyes glinting with determination and the thrill of conquest teetering on the horizon. Philippe's secret weapon, a catapult, was wheeled to the front lines. The crew checked the mechanism, their faces revealing a shared adrenaline rush mixed with a touch of anxiety. They knew this would alter the balance. Saladin, riding through the streets of Acre, reassured the citizens, promising protection should they endure. His powerful voice resonated with resolve, echoing off the stone walls, stirring a flicker of hope among the beleaguered. The Crusaders prepared their final assault as the sun began to set, casting an orange glow across the battlefield. The tension was palpable, and Philip ordered his men to ready their weapons for the inevitable clash. A trumpet sounded, echoing through the air, signaling the Crusaders to advance. The ground trembled as they marched forward, the sound of armor clanking resonating through the waiting city. Within Acre's walls, a hushed silence fell over the defenders. Fear gripped their hearts as they awaited the inevitable siege, the atmosphere thickening with impending conflict. Philip, at the forefront of the assault, raised his sword high, rallying his troops with a fierce cry for victory. The determination in his eyes sparked a fire in his men, forging an unbreakable bond. As the Crusaders charged, Saladin's garrison prepared to defend with every last ounce of strength, their resolve solidified by the knowledge that surrender meant certain doom for their people. With the first clash of swords echoing through the air, chaos erupted. The sound of metal against metal harmonized with the battle cries of both sides, marking the next chapter in this legendary siege. As the battle intensified, desperate measures were taken by both knights and defenders, lending an air of unpredictability to the fight. Each side hurled everything they had into this final conflict. Seeing the fierce struggle unfold, the citizens of Acre watched from their windows and doorways, their hearts pounding with fear and despair, trapped between two warring factions. As the fighting raged on, both sides began to sustain heavy losses. Morale ebbed and flowed, fueled by the sight of fallen comrades and the struggle for survival. In the midst of conflict, Philip sensed a shift, a crucial moment where the tide of battle could be turned. He moved to rally his men, invigorating their spirits for one last push. Noticing the weakened resolve within his ranks, Saladin called for a strategic withdrawal, aiming to regroup and re-strategize against the advancing Crusaders. Amidst dense smoke rising from the battlefield, the sounds of battle began to merge with fervent prayers from both sides. The beliefs and hopes of the soldiers fueled their actions. At a crucial moment, a young knight from Philip's camp found himself dueling a seasoned Saracen soldier, each showcasing unwavering bravery in the face of adversity. As night began to fall, both armies found themselves exhausted but driven by the fervor of their causes. The darkening sky offered them no respite as the fate of Acre hung in the balance. In the flickering light of nearby fires, negotiations began unknowingly among the ranks with calls for pacts and truces. The path towards surrender began to take shape, although it was fraught with tension. Philip's forces, seeing opportunity amidst chaos, rallied as rumors of a potential surrender spread like wildfire through their ranks, igniting newfound vigor to push further into the fight. As the night deepened, the cries from the battlefield were juxtaposed with the hushed conversations among the people of Acre. They weighed their hopes against the reality of their plight, caught in the struggle between two forces. Both Saladin and Philip prepared for the inevitable conclusion of the siege. With their forces on edge, the stage was set for a monumental decision that would affect countless lives. Under the cover of darkness, Philip Augustus initiated talks with Saladin, aiming for a peaceful resolution. This marked a critical moment in the quest for control over Acre, as both leaders weighed their options carefully. Saladin, contemplating the heavy toll of the siege, decided to meet with his senior advisors. The room was filled with tension as they discussed the implications of surrendering Acre, weighing the lives at stake against the honor of resistance. As dawn approached, citizens of Acre gathered, their faces etched with fatigue. They prayed for mercy, their hopes pinned on Saladin's promise of protection. They were caught in the crossfire, longing for an end to the suffering. Tensions mounted on both sides as Philip's forces prepared artillery for a final decisive push. The clang of metal and the shouts of soldiers filled the air, signaling a crescendo in the siege's relentless battle. In the fortress, Saladin stood watching the catapults from a high balcony. He felt the weight of his people's expectation resting on his shoulders, knowing that a strategic error could cost countless lives. As the Crusaders launched their first volleys, the sound echoed against the fortress walls. The citizens of Acre braced themselves, knowing that their fate hung precariously in the balance with each strike. Saladin, recognizing the futility of continued resistance, sent a herald under a white flag to initiate formal talks of surrender. This bold decision could either save lives or condemn them. Philip, receiving the herald, gathered his council to discuss the proposal. This moment could either mean victory or the beginning of a long negotiation, filled with uncertainty. As discussions continued, Saladin's garrison prepared for a potential withdrawal, with the burden of defeat heavy on their minds. The air was thick with apprehension as soldiers packed their belongings. With the sun climbing higher, Philip's forces received word of the proposed surrender. The mood shifted from one of aggression to cautious optimism, yet whispers of doubt lingered. A herald returned with Saladin's terms, revealing a roadmap to peace that included safe passage for defenders and civilians. It marked a significant turn for both sides as they sought resolution. As talk of terms was put forth, Saladin addressed his troops, aiming to keep their spirits high despite the impending surrender. His words resonated with those who had fought valiantly. With the agreement approaching finality, the citizens of Acre peeked out from behind the fortress walls, their expressions a mix of bewilderment and cautious hope as they glimpsed potential freedom. After hours of negotiation, a final agreement was reached. The surrender of Acre was formalized, marking a significant victory for Philip Augustus and his forces. reshaping the future of the Third Crusade. As dusk fell, Philip's forces entered Acre victoriously. The mood was jubilant among the Crusaders, celebrating the end of a long struggle. Tired, yet triumphant, they had seized a critical stronghold. Saladin, though defeated, commanded respect from his soldiers. He prepared to lead his remaining forces away, aware of the repercussions of this surrender, but resolute to continue the fight in another form. As citizens flooded into the streets of Acre, the moment of peace was bittersweet for them. They faced hardships ahead, but were grateful for the end of conflict, yearning for rebirth in their city. Philip Augustus addressed his troops, emphasizing the significance of unity and perseverance throughout the siege. This victory was a testament to their resilience and determination. The surrender of Acre marked a shifting tide in the Third Crusade, demonstrating that strategic negotiations could yield peace amid chaos. The lessons learned here would shape future encounters in the ongoing conflict. In the aftermath, both Philip and Saladin recognized the cost of war on their people. The surrender was not just a military loss or gain, but a poignant moment in their legacies and the broader context of their time.